So we got some news, and I don't think initially it's the most Hollywood of news. It's not that new midfielder you want or that new striker. But in many respects, this may be far more important. And I'm not entirely sure whether to be excited about this news or very worried. At the moment, I'm hedging more towards worried, actually. Because West Ham appear to have gone on what I can only really compare to a bit of a credit card spree. Well, I say a credit card spree. We've not spent on the credit card yet. But we've got to get the MasterCard, we've got the American Express, we've got the Visa. And now we're going to got an MBNA. Is that right? MBNA? Hold on, that's the basketball. You know what I mean? We've gone and got maybe quite a high percentage interest rate credit card if you want. Now, we've not spent any money on it. And if you wonder what I'm going on about, I'm going to read something from Kieran Maguire here. And Kieran Maguire, if you don't know who he is, he's been on the channel a number of times. If you watch anything about football finance, if you go and watch something on Sky Sports or the BBC, and you want football finance described, maybe you want a little bit more detail in terms of what Manchester City are doing with their 115 charges that they've got, anything like that. He's the guy you'll normally see on telly, Kieran Maguire. So he runs The Price of Football, basically. It's a Price of Football social media account. He does podcasts, lots of stuff. He's the finance expert in football, the most recognised. He tweeted this earlier, 3 hours ago. West Ham borrow from Rights and Media Funding Limited, a company with no employees, hardly any assets, from loans to companies, which owes about 290 million itself to creditors. Right. I think he's being quite careful with his words there. West Ham borrowed from a company that have no employees and don't have any assets, but the company that we borrowed off owe 290 million themselves. I mean, that's immediately not great. Now let's give it a little bit more depth here, a little bit more context. About a few weeks ago, during this transfer window at least, so at some point between now and the start of June, West Ham got a credit facility with Barclays Bank. And that credit facility allowed us to borrow earnings, I believe it was for the next 2 seasons. And I think we did a video about it at the time, and I think we plucked the figure out of 145 million. It wasn't plucked from thin air, the 145 million, because that allowed us to borrow £100 million guaranteed income this season, and even if the worst happened and we've got relegated next season, the parachute income, which basically comes to 145 million, right? So West Ham have got 145 million on the credit card. Look at it that way. So if we want to go and spend some money, the money is there. We'll deal with really should we be doing this stuff in a minute, but I just want to get to the facts as best I understand them. So you would think with a credit card that's going to allow you to spend 45 million, 145 million, you probably don't need any more credit. And look, I might just be completely dim and I don't understand this stuff at all, which is why I'm reading people like Kieran Maguire to try and get a steer on it. But today, what Kieran's talking about, borrowing from Rights and Media Funding Limited, this is not secured against our future TV revenue. This is against our assets. This is against Rush Green. This is against Chadwell Heath. This is against our buildings, and this is against our land. No figure is given what the credit facility is. But you've got to imagine I'm imagining there's £50 million worth of stuff here. I'll tell you this now, if we had a stadium, we'd probably be borrowing against it. We don't have a stadium. So we're not doing that. We've not secured another loan. So this is on top of the 145 million. I think we've probably got like a couple of £100 million that we could possibly draw on if we wanted to. Why? I don't know why we're doing this. This is not the same as should we be doing this. I'll deal with that in a second. But this is really odd. Now, I think the Barclays one, look, if we were struggling with cash flow, I sort of get it. But cash flow, that's different to PSR, right? As we've discussed, that gives us an overdraft from Barclays. Barclays is fine, right? Well, it's bloody Barclays. No problem there. But when you start going to other places, you're going to pay a lot more interest, I'm guessing. Did anyone ever do the... did anyone ever have the probably showing me history here, did the Provident Man ever come round and you get those voucher things, those tickets? You pay a fortune on them things, wouldn't you? Because it was the only people you could borrow for. You were skint, you had no money. Well, I'm talking about me, I'm not talking about you. You might have been all right, but... And you pay loads, like, I can't even remember now, 18%, 25%, something like that. You had to pay it back quick, or it could get dodgy. Do you know what I mean? But you certainly weren't able to pay stuff back at the reasonable interest rate that maybe you get from a high street lender or something like that. It was a paycheck to paycheck loan, wasn't it? It was to get you through to your next wages. I'm wondering what we're doing here. I just don't know. Right, so anyway, let's deal with the should we be doing this. Earlier on at the start of the video, I said I'm not sure whether to be excited about it or worried about it. I went with worried. Why would you be excited? Well, I guess if you were cup half full, I do try to be. I'm not cup half full. I got two empty Aldi bottles of water, by the way. If you are cup half full, you might think, well, we're about to go on a spending spree. Maybe this is going to give us the extra money to get that extra little bit to give Southampton what they want for Matches Fernandes. But we wouldn't need to do that. We've got £145 million to draw on. We've probably got it covered. If what we really want to do is give Graham Potter, I would humbly suggest that 145 million would comfortably cover Graham Potter for 2 midfielders and a striker. Fair enough? So why are we... I don't understand. Why would we secure a loan for even more than that? And I don't know. I'm guessing. But for what could possibly be for more interest, at a higher interest rate? I just don't know. But we have 3, I think, billionaires on the board. David Sullivan, Daniel Kretinsky, Albert Tripp-Smith. I think Tripp-Smith is, if not, he's not far off, right? I mean, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Because you're all thinking it yourself. Why can't they put their money in? Why is that not happening? I think it's fair to say none of us expect David Sullivan to put his money in, right? I just don't see it. I can't see it's going to happen. But what about Kretinsky? Why is there no share issue? Why is he not getting involved? Why is he letting... I just don't understand why he's letting this happen. I mean, the person that really should be doing it is David Sullivan. But they should be getting together and doing something. But I just don't understand. I do not understand why the club are willing to pay what is clearly a load of interest on something that really could be handled in-house with no interest, with cash injections from the ownership. Because, and this is not a PSR thing, you understand, because if PSR decides you can't spend any more money, it doesn't mean, you can go to the bank now and borrow some more money. That doesn't count. It's clearly income and expenditure. We've already discussed this. Before we sold Kudus, we could have spent about 95 million and been fine with PSR. So now, obviously, that's extended. I just think it's not a good look. It's not a good look, and it's not... I didn't read you the full tweet, did I, from Kieran Maguire? He's tried to be funny, but you do get the impression he's not saying what he thinks, you know? So he said, West Ham borrow from Rights and Media Funding Limited, a company with no employees, hardly any assets apart from loans to companies, and which owes about £290 million itself to creditors. And I think he's saying, how can you have a company with no employees, you know, that owes 290 million? Anyway, so the second part of his tweet, it says, I asked Peter Andre what he thought of this, and he said, that's more mysterious than the mysterious girl in my song, Mysterious Girl, Mate. He's tried to make a little joke there, but he is saying he's baffled by it. This is completely baffling. It's a mystery why West Ham are doing this. And all I would say is, if the price of football finance expert Kieran Maguire doesn't know why West Ham are doing this, or maybe he's playing possum, maybe he does, but if he doesn't know, what chance have we got?